Yo, what is up, guys? The Legend tournament just finished. I participated in it. Was pretty cool to do so. Didn't really go as planned. I think it's been like a thing that's been going on like more right now. I have one match bad luck, and then one match I messed it up myself. So I kind of did that in SWC as well. So a lucky match into a bad draft match. Either way, it was fun to play. Shizzy played really well. So I'm gonna analyze my matches, but also the one from the others, because I think the casters, they were hype, but they weren't really like on point with like some of the calls. So I just want to go over like what happened, how RNG was. It was actually that RNG, or was just like in the next video I'll make a video about like the road to the Legend tournament, because normally you don't see the preparation like that goes into like getting to the Legend tournament, because not that many people have gotten there, especially not anyone that's like content creating or anything. The last few weeks they were stressful, man. They were hella stressful. So more about it in the other video. And one cool thing I want to show you. So first and foremost, most people are gonna ask, so what kind of win rate did you end up with? I ended on 78.1, which is the highest win rate from all players in the end. There were like a few with higher win rates, but they played that few matches that I'd say it doesn't really count. Like for example, Topovi had a really high win rate, but his account was reset and therefore didn't have that many matches. So therefore, but also that I'll show in the other video. And I think Pokemongo, he had like a super high win rate as well. But more about that, the road to, in the other video. So a funny thing is here, people like I saw some comments again. It's like, the meta doesn't change. The meta doesn't change. Boo hoo! It's like, do you see a Hathor in this? Do you see a Hathor in this? Like, yeah, sure. Like Kenny was there. The LDs are there. Friend is there. Do you see a Hathor in this? Yeah, it was banned. Also for Shizzy. Okay, Shizzy actually, he has still a Hathor. But then again, there was one Hathor pick throughout the whole tournament, I think. So you had in total like what, 8 matches, one Hathor. Meta's not changing. Okay, whatever. I'm not here to be annoying. So okay, let's start off with the actual matches. So first off, we have Okeanos ban and Gianna ban, which really makes sense. Okeanos is the main unit of Pinkroyd, pretty much. How to play if main unit is Gianna, which both cases really make sense. Also, if Okeanos is not open, people mostly take Sierra first, but he went for a Gani first. I'm not really sure why he went Gani first. Maybe he does know that How to Play doesn't have that many will runes, which is a good thing. Sierra is then always like, it's one of those really good first picks. Molly's is pretty useful unit. So let's just continue with the draft for a bit. Okay, so we're gonna pause here. Pause button is kind of in the middle, but it's okay. So what we see here is like these three. I don't see Pinkroyd use Daphnes that often. I think he just prepared it for How to Play. Funny thing, this Leona ban is really good, because this Leona is 100% must ban, because if he bans the Daphnes, like whether he does or does not, you have to ban it. Because if he bans the Daphnes, you insta lose with these 4 units. So the Leona last pick is really good of How to Play. And then with this team, you probably want to ban the Vert, which I'm pretty sure they also did. In this case, I would give the upper hands highly to How to Play's draft, because you just have AoE strip into AoE reset, and then you can start landing bombs and what kind of stuff. So it's pretty difficult to come back with this kind of team versus that. So in the end, How to Play did win this match. But it was a little bit like, he landed everything there, yes. He did serious meta, which was all... How many resist? No, it was all glancing. So they called it 100% recessed Rika, and it like resisted everything. Like, no, it actually glanced everything. Of course, they can see it. It's super fast paced. Like afterwards, so you can really look easy into it. But sure, it looked like everything got resisted, but nothing got resisted. It's just all glanced. So those are the things that are like kind of difficult to see when you're actually casting this kind of stuff. So he lands the bomb, which is pretty good. That's a risky play, but kind of works out. For some reason, the Woundsa of How to Play does absolutely no damage. Like most Woundsas I've seen, like I have no clue how most people ruin them, but I feel like they mostly do a lot of damage. And doing 900 on non-critter and 1800 on critter, that feels really low. Like if you just Woundsa speed lead, speed artifacts, you already do way more damage than that. So I feel that's kind of low. This nearly killed, which is, that pretty sucked, but yeah, in the end, this was like a little bit of drawn out fight, but you have the Molly there, especially because it actually didn't kill. It was pretty bad. He could have opted to go S1, so he would have survived, but I think the S2 is actually pretty decent choice to get like armor breaks in. And in the end, like How to Play wins this, but I think by draft How to Play would have won this, like anyhow. This was a pretty clean draft from How to Play. So where you have the whole draft here, I like this draft from How to Play. I don't really like the draft from Pinkroyd was actually pretty smart that he went for a Praha, which was high speed, so it's probably like speed, crit rate, HP on Swift something, and that's actually outsped the Hathor, which is probably also Swift. So his idea was, okay, if I get Praha plus Hathor in here, and I ban out his speed lead, then you can outspeed this whole team, which is actually where he went for. So if Hathor wasn't banned here, that would have been like a really like smart play by Pinkroyd for sure. But the thing is, How to Play actually banned like the Hathor, because most Prahas they don't outspeed like the. So how most people ruin their Praha, mostly they have like the Okeanos, Chungpunks, and all that kind of stuff before the Praha, then Praha, and then like Sierra. But he actually went for a super fast Praha, which worked in this case pretty well. This draft should have absolutely annihilated this draft. Like, absolutely, in my opinion. But in the end, we will see that it doesn't happen like that. And let's see where that actually goes wrong. I think he highly misplayed at some point. Okay, so this strip, well, it's a Swift one. This is not gonna despair. This is for sure Swift. If he outspeeds the Gian of How to Play, you can 100% say that this is Swift. So he bombs that, sure, makes sense. Here it's like, okay, do you want to reset or not? And it's actually a smart call to reset because the attack bar of Okeanos is not full, and this Josephine and Monkey are actually pretty fast, because I don't expect this Okeanos to be that slow. So he can't S2 with... he can't S2 and then follow up, because his units are actually all lapped, so he has to S3. Which he does, which makes sense. He gets a counter, and he gets that. Well, the counter didn't do that much except for like mediocre damage, but that's fine. Okay, then we just get some hits in, all makes sense. Here, I would have actually... Does he S2 or does he S3? Yeah, S2. S2 makes a lot more sense. He gets the stun, unfortunately, but yeah, that happens. Yeah, in this case, okay, so he has the reset. I think he resets, it gets resisted. And here, he knows he's gonna get lapped. He knows all of these units are most likely faster than his units. So it's actually pretty risky to not go for an S3 here to actually reset. I would have totally S3'd there. Like, if anything procs out, you're dead. If that would have... Like, I would have actually... Like, he knew that he would lap with the Sierra as well. But that stun would have had to go on Okeanos the moment that Sierra didn't lap. But because of Sierra lapping here, if he would have S3'd Sierra, then sure, this would have still be stunned. But at least you could... you would still have more cooldowns on everything. You can follow up with Serious Matter of Chungpong, and then it's like a lot easier match. But that's not how it went, and then in the end he got screwed by the bomb. So I think he could have won that totally, but he would have had to S3, and that S3 would have probably killed Sierra as well. So I think it could have been 2-0 here. That's what I think. Like, sure, could be wrong, but I think if he would have S3 on that Sierra, would have been a lot better. So let's look into the third match. Okay, third match. This was a bit of a weird draft from like both sides. It felt a bit uncomfortable on both sides. Again, How to Play this draft feels weird, but maybe is favorable because of the Artemil with the defense buff. I don't really like. I didn't really feel the Tyrannese here, like, for some reason. Like, I felt like you kind of needed like an immunity cleanser or anything like that, and this feels pretty okay. Like, it's pretty decently counted, but I feel like it's okay. Especially the Rika in there. Like, Pinkroyd uses a lot of Rika, and it actually worked out to a good amount, like, from him, like, for him in the season. So yeah, without any immunity, Rika is a must ban, more or less. Like, you could opt to not to, but still fine. This, you're gonna have armor break, because this is all gonna run out of immunity, and he actually has immunity. So, well, Chungpong is gonna move before the Ganymede, probably. So therefore you have some options, but you have the Revenging Vert, which might add some trouble to the cake. So yeah, what do you do here? You probably S2 something. So he tried to S2 Ganymede, or Ganymede, but yeah, didn't do all too much, didn't do that much damage. Got a proc. Like, it's actually unfortunate that Fran moved before the Changpong here. If Fran moved after the Changpong, in between like Changpong and Gani, would have been best. So I'm not sure how much speed is in between the two. But if he just moved like right in between, but of course you don't know. So that's actually unlucky because he countered, but he had the glancings and then he double glanced. So that could have been a lot better actually. So landing that on fire, stripping and all of that stuff on fire, and then putting the glancing as well is pretty unlucky for Pinkroyd. That's a lot of damage for a bomb. That's a pretty good bomb, and the Champong is not that much HP. I guess he's Aki slot 6 or something. Wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, that's pretty much that Champong, like straight off the start. But still, this Artemil is doing so much chip damage, like every time he hits, because just armor breaks and that kind of stuff. Didn't reset the attack bar. He got 3 units. 3 units is a pretty good amount for like an S3 provoke. Of course, the one that would be most important would be the Fran, I'd say. Yeah, because Sierra didn't have any skills up, so he actually, like, he provoked 3 units, but the only one that actually mattered at that point was Fran. Because all 3 units, like, Vert is gonna hit anything anyways, it doesn't really matter. Fran has skills up, and Savannah didn't have skills up, and Sierra didn't have skills up. So the only thing he provoked, like, 3 provokes looks real cool, but actually it was really useless. He only needed the 1 provoke, and he didn't get that one. Okay, so we're knocked off the beast. We got a bomb. The thing is he doesn't have any clan, so any bomb that lands is just highly deathful. And actually all of the bombs landed. But at some point this Fran went Super Saiyan, because that's the first proc of Fran that pretty much saved his ass. Because if he didn't have that proc, I think Sierra would have been dead here. Yeah, Sierra would have been... No, wait, let me check the damage. Or how much heal did come from that? I think enough healing came from that. That's an 8k heal. Yeah, if that 8k HP wasn't there, Sierra would have been dead. So that's the first time proc of Fran that kept him in the game. Otherwise, if Sierra's dead, GG. Insta GG. Because already dismounted Beast Rider, insta GG. So Fran saved his ass once on the proc already. Oh, and this is so low HP. Artemil didn't crit, right? No crit from Artemil. I'm pretty sure how to play has a decent amount of crit rate on that thing. But if he crit there, it would have worked. He would have killed as well. This is semi-risky, I'd say, because you're not 100% sure that you're actually killing anything right now. Well, he knows that on a counter he's gonna kill anyways, but the stun on the Sierra is pretty good. So that's the second time the Fran procs that keeps his Yara alive. Heavy stuns. Yeah, so the 2 times proc of Fran like kept Sierra alive both times. So that's highly lucky procs. And now it's pretty much GG, and I think she goes for another proc there. Yeah, that's just the game. Let's call it that way. That's just the game. But yeah, pretty unlucky for, I would say mostly unlucky for how to play, like with the procs. Because otherwise Sierra would have been dead. And we had a long ass break, man. Oh, I started playing like my chill music playing list, which I play while doing RTA. I finished 4 songs before we started playing because they were talking that long. I'm like, oh my god, I just want to play. Let me play. So what do we have here? I ban Han, he bans Gianna, really makes sense. I go for an early Vert, which also makes sense. Sierra pretty much makes sense. I could have... no, Vanessa here wouldn't have been that great. He goes for the Praha with the Savannah, also pretty good picks. But this is actually already like pretty countered by Vert, and Praha S2 is also already countered by Vert. So he has 3 units that do AoE stuff. So he's kind of countering himself by Vert already pretty hard. So then I go for Monkey Leo. I started using Monkey a lot more, which is really good into those kind of teams that don't have like like hard CCs. Like Okeanos is like hard CC, I would say. And these units, okay, Daydream maybe kind of. So yeah, the Monkey's just pretty good into those kind of teams. Because there's also like a lot of like AoE hits, Monkey just like counters that. Leo's really good into that. So for this draft, I thought like this is in the bag. This is like super easy. Like I draft this kind of stuff all the time and it works really well. So let's see what actually happened. So the thing is, I don't even necessarily like, it's not even betting on just like third revenging. He's opting to do Savannah S3 into 2 fire units. So the moment they glance or don't land like a single bit, just get a resistance check, which is highly likely because you have so many resistance checks that at some point, like it's 15%, it's gonna happen for something, right? So he was opting as, okay, do I actually go for an S1 or something? So he actually decreases on everyone. Then he uses this S3. He decreases on everyone. And I don't get a counter, but he decreases on 2 fire units as well. So if I have one of the, if I had them not pushed back, or I just get like a armor break that was not there or anything like that, it would have been so beneficial. Just not getting an armor break would have been like a really big change. So of course then he has the free reset. Monkey did something. Then we had Praha. They discussed that, oh, this Praha does so much damage, but it's actually like it's 2.5Ks. It looks like a lot, but this is just speed artifacts. You got a speed lead plus speed buff plus speed artifacts on a fast unit. You easily stack up to like this amount of damage. Really simple. Like it's just artifacts. Speed artifacts with like triple multiplier because of like speed lead, speed buff, high speed. You easily do this damage, especially on armor break. So it's actually not that crazy. He gets... Does he get an additional turn? Or was that just like a fast lap? That was just a fast lap, okay? So he does that again, so my Okeanos is kind of dead. I think he starts focusing something else right here. Yeah, he focused the Sierra here. So he wants to kill the Sierra with that, makes sense. So he resets that, also makes sense. I throw back the armor break. He goes for Daydream here. Good call. I don't get any procs. Would have been nice. Like, if I would have got a proc on the Monkey, I could have started cycling on, like, killing this thing. And if I just had these 2 units there, I could have killed these probably 4 units even. Like, these 2 units together, they're, like, really strong and annoying to kill. So, okay, that doesn't do too much. I think he goes for another S3, which is really risky. But he felt like he had the RNG. Yeah, this is super risky. So I actually counter there with both, but they don't stun and he procs out. So that's just highly unlucky. That's just highly, highly unlucky. Because if I actually countered, if these 2 units, if the third was not pushed back, also here, if I would have had a proc, would be like really beneficial. But that also didn't happen. So this was just like a scenario of like, he had to land everything at perfect moments, and then it looks really good. But the moment like one thing would have actually missed, it would have instantly like dropped his whole team. So yeah, then it's pretty much over. Also, don't get any procs. Didn't get too many. If I just started off with like a revenge or anything, even that got resisted. Well, didn't even matter anymore. But if that just had a proc, well, you could just go for a second proc. But yeah, that's what it was. So kind of an unlucky match. Like my units just didn't do too much of revenge and that kind of stuff. And then we go into a second match, which was a mess on my side. Not gonna lie, his draft was a lot better in that one. So the idea behind it, like this friend pick, kind of threw me off guard. Well, actually, the Chiwu ban threw me kind of off guard. I'm not gonna lie. The first match I was trying to ban Han, and I'm like, what the fuck is this ninja? Because it's like all the way at the bottom of like the Darknet files. They couldn't find it, and at some point here I was like drafting. I'm like, in this situation, I was like, where's my Chiwu? Why can't I find my Chiwu? And I'm like, oh, Chiwu's pre-ban. I'm like, oh. Not paying attention, didn't get that much sleep the last few days, which I will talk about in the other video of like the road to a Legend tournament. So the figure pick here was not that great. I probably would have, it would have been better if I just went Praha plus Savannah here, because I know he plays a lot of Savannah, so it would have been better to steal the Savannah. Also, I have a Ganymede that I know is pretty fast. It's still violent though, but all of his units are pretty much will, so that would be tricky. So I went with the figure because it kind of counters this, and I knew it would counter the Han. But I wasn't really prepared for a Savannah, so the Savannah kind of threw me off guard. So that was a bit of an issue. Having like any form of immunity here would have been nice-ish. But in that case, you still have the Savannah S2 into a Han S2 and it's gonna annihilate something because Han, especially on an attack buff, is insanely OP. So I just went for like, okay, I gotta go with a risky pick. And I went with the Sion, which didn't work out that well. But Sion, like, he can throw off some heavy damage. Like, I'm pretty sure my Sion would one-shot his Han. Pretty sure. So yeah, like in here, I could have banned Okeanos or I could have banned Savannah. Either case, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say, so I already had a pretty bad draft. I kind of needed like maybe like another stripper here, but if I would have brought like a Juno or a Shihao or anything like that, or Triton even, that it all wouldn't have done. Triton maybe, but it all wouldn't have done that much. So like the figure here was not that good. So my fifth pick therefore was weird. So let's call it like that. Playing into Han is pretty annoying. Let's call it that way. So yeah, then we see the match. So actually on a 24 lead, I outspeed his Okeanos with my Gani. It's still a via one. So yeah, that's already pretty messy. He goes for a reset. He lands it, which is too bad. He instantly annihilates that. His friend is actually... I'm surprised that his friend doesn't move. He gets the first proc though. Which is actually beneficial for me in this case, because it's not like that much of a useful... Is it a useful proc? No, wait, it's actually a useful proc. It is actually a useful proc, because I would have S2'd with Vigor. Yeah, I would have S2'd with Vigor. So he didn't get that, so... Too bad. Oh yeah, my Sierra crit all three here. My Sierra's gonna crit all three none in the next one. That was like... But this match is already pretty much over. Like, also getting rid of the armor break just makes sense. It's a normal thing to do. Triple non-crit! How do you triple non-crit? My Sierra's 82 crit rate. How do you triple non-crit? Match was already over, like, besides that, but whatever. How do you triple non-crit? You dumbass unit. Oh, this match was already over, so... Yeah, that's why best of 3 pretty much suck. Like, all SWC players like say it all the time, also for this kind of tournament. They spend more time as a break in between the like Pinkroyd and my match than actually they spend time on just having my match. And therefore I just say start off with best of 5 straight away. Man, this thing is not that long. Just go for best of 5s, because if you have one bad draft and one unlucky match, you're already out. So it kind of sucks. So, but yeah, that's just my feedback on it. Just go best of 5. Also, this didn't like land anything. Well, didn't really matter anymore. But yeah, it was just things didn't go that well my way. So one unlucky match, one bad draft is what it is. Out for this season. I'll try again next season, probably. I don't know. Depends on the meta then, because the meta actually does shift. So yeah, let's look into the last match. Shizzy had some nice plays in this one, actually. So we have Okeanos and to Gani and Chiwu. Gani-Chiwu was a really good counter into Okeanos, which also pretty... that's actually what he did pretty smart, because I was forced to go Sierra Gani into his Okeanos before, because he pre-banned the Chiwu against me. So he can actually... Chiwu Gani is quite often a better pick than that, especially if you're okay with hitting verts and then you don't get countered. But yeah, he goes for Savannah. So what you see, like, on both sides, everyone is contesting speed leads all the time, and that's what the top players did all the time. Like, all the time you contest speed leads. It's not necessarily that you go like for super speed comps, but you always contest speed leads. Again, contesting speed leads. And then we end with the third Diana, which is a really good call here. Diana's pretty good into the like this whole team. Diana's also a unit I could have used instead of my Xingzi. It could have been better in my first match. Maybe. Depends. So Rika here is a pretty good pick into this, so that's a must ban, and Diana is a pretty good pick into this, so that's a must ban. So really easy bans. Yep, tada. Well, that's banned. Okay, tada. So let's go into the actual match. Okay, so do we actually S3 here? Probably we do. Oh no, he actually S2s. S2 actually is smart because if you S3, Diana's gotta get a turn for sure. Verd is probably gonna get a turn. This thing is lapping no matter what. So, well, if you push him back, he wouldn't get a turn, but the safer play is actually going for an S2 there. Here, do you want to speed buff or do you want to S2? Pinkroyd goes for a speed buff, which I think is pretty smart. Because you're gonna get reset by like your whole team is gonna get reset. So the moment to get back online, you actually kind of need that speed buff. But this draft for Shizzy like looks so much favorable. So you can just start like chipping like the Diana, like just putting bombs on Diana and that kind of stuff. Because also the S3 is already gone from Savannah, so you don't really have to mind that anymore. So he actually procs, while not using S2 in the first one, he uses it in the second. But that's the thing, it should have been better in the second, because then you rotate it more, but of course you don't know when you're gonna get proc, but sure. This one was actually interesting because he could have shielded. If he shielded, he would have done like S3, probably. But that S3 would have forced that, like, sure, you S3, like, the shield's all gone, sure. But Verd could have countered that, and Diana would have got, like, near full attack bar from that anyways. So, plus she could have resisted, so I think, like, going for a shield there would have maybe been better. But also getting a stun on Fran would have been... Yeah, stun on Fran would have probably been better. I actually agree with this play. Stun on Fran would have been better. Actually, the Fran of Shizzy heals for absolutely no HP. He has no attack on that unit. If you heal for 5k, it's really low. Like we saw with Pinkroyd, I think he healed for like 9k or something. So, okay, he actually survives that. But like bare minimum survive. So personally in this situation, he leaves the bomb on it and he kills that. I would have S3'd here because if you... Yeah, I would have totally S3'd there, mainly for the reason that you don't want Verd to start like lapping more and more. And with that, he could have saved his friend. So if he would have just S3'd, he would have saved his friend because a friend had S2 up. So I think that's the only misplay that Shizzy made in like the whole Legend tournament. Because that's highly risky. Because if then this one procs, which did, he's actually kind of back in the game. Like, okay, Sierra actually resisted that pushback. If Sierra was actually pushed back there, then it would have been like... Yeah, if Sierra would have been pushed back there, the Savannah would have lapped, and he would have lost this match. So that was actually the only risky play he made. I would have bombed that Verd for sure. And now he could get like another bomb off, and this you can just hit, and then you win. So I think that's the only misplay that Shizzy made for like the... At least that I think is a misplay. Okay, for the last match, I haven't seen Shizzy use that much NFL, which was pretty interesting against this. It's a really good counter into Rika. It's with Fran, it's not that great, I would say. With Athna, it's not that great. But this draft, if I just see the draft, I would favor it to Pinkroyd, personally. Because the NFL can be controlled with Athna, also with Despair Stuns, with Rika. So this draft I would favor Pinkroyd. Also, Pinkroyd is way faster, as you can see. Actually, wait, what? That was interesting. Look at the speeds. That NFL is faster? Wait, what? That NFL is faster than these two units? I'm surprised about that. That NFL is hella fast. That NFL is hella fast. Okay, so it resisted the pushback. So that's actually not too great. He actually resisted the push. He resisted the pushback on 2 units, which is actually pretty bad for Shizzy, because the pushback of Chu was resisted on Okeanos and on the... So that's a bit unlucky. So there we have stuns, and he does stun 2 units. He is on Despair, so that's not that much, I would say. Capture, really strong skill, just within the range, so that was actually nice. Oh, Savannah speed buff do so much damage. So here it was really lucky. His S3 stunned more people on Despair stun than his S2 that's supposedly stunning. So yeah. So he actually stunned the NFL, which he really needed here. Because without that, like all of these, like the Vanessa would have survived a hit later. But then at the end, this was really like back and forth, like super close match. He didn't push back. I think he just pushed back once. Also, this if he would have made it to no, actually this does less damage that way because he gets more damage when he's in beast form, and then he survives on super low HP and he procs. Ow! Yeah, that happens. So yeah, then it was a good back and forth, which was actually funny to see. It was funny to see the matches. Yeah, and then in this case, like you would say, Shizzy is pretty done for because all of the units look that low HP, but you have Annabelle, which can handle super low HP apparently. But that NFL is fast. I'm telling you, that NFL is fast. I didn't notice like the first time he had that fast of an NFL. Decent amount of damage, and that proc from Shizzy was pretty good. That's a really pretty good proc because you just add so much more damage to the table. Couldn't do that much with it, but still quite some damage. And we got another proc, and that proc was super huge because now you have an armor broken Rain of Stones and armor broken Rain of Stones. 2.9k on critters, 2.3k on critters, like on other units. Didn't actually kill it, which I was surprised about, but that's some heavy damage. Didn't stun everyone though. But yeah, that pretty much like it was procs back and forth, I guess, but this was like more favorable for Shizzy in procs. So in this draft, I would have say like if you play this draft like 10 times, I would say Pinkroyd would win this like 7 or 8 times. Okay, then we got the last match, which I thought was pretty interesting. I think Shizzy played this one really well because a lot of people would have played this differently, which wouldn't have been better. And you will see why. So he actually goes for the Leo here, which is a pretty interesting one. Like Leo is really good with the Juno and Han. So this Juno was pretty pre-planned and pretty early already, I would say. The third slot, relatively early. But yeah, like Juno is not that great into these units, to be honest. With the artifacts and that kind of stuff currently, it's not that great. But when there's a Leo there, it actually becomes pretty good. So he expects the Leo to be in there still. Also, he has a pretty good solution to reset anything anyways with the Chiwu. So the Chiwu is kind of a must ban. And he goes for the Sierra. So Sierra is like main damage threat to like all of this. If there's Leo on the field. So he actually betted pretty well that Leo was on the field. Also, these 3 units make sure that anything is one shot. Like first turn, anything is one shot. Which makes Han plus Chiwu again, he makes it so OP. Like there's for sure one unit, if you land everything, one unit is hella dead. So this draft of Shizzy was pretty like, it's a really good draft. But then sure, there's still like more sustain on the side of Pinkroyd, but there's way more cycling on the side of Shizzy. So he didn't get that pushback, so well, that's pretty much a 50-50 check, so that's fair that happens. Some good damage on that monkey, definitely some good damage. US3, the casters were saying like, oh, he didn't get the pushback. I'm like, you can't push back if everyone is same speed because you have to have more speed. But since you're Leo, everyone is same speed, you don't push back ever. But whatever. Apparently they don't know the interaction with Savannah and Leo. But yeah, whatever. Now you learn. So he didn't want to do S2 because of Juno, which is actually a threat that's there, which I mostly actually do take still to I would still S2 because Juno's strip is pretty inconsistent. It's not gonna land everything because it's a 90% and you have resistance checks. So, and he actually goes for cycling. That's the thing, like, especially with Juno, if you force a Juno to go S2, you also take away his cycling, especially his cycling here with a Leo. He's cycling over everyone like crazy. So, therefore, I would have probably made sure he wanted to use his S2 and not S1. So I would have S3'd there. Because there's probably never a good spot to use S3. So a lot of people would have actually used S2 in this spot to maybe like stun or cleanse or anything, but he just kept cycling, which was really smart to do. I think a lot of people would have, with the Juno, would have S2'd when they're in this situation because they thought like, friend is not there and that kind of stuff, which is actually really smart to keep your S2 moment like friend would proc out and just keep the cycling going. Just keep the cycling going. Also, this reset is pretty risky, but the case that Han would actually proc out, it would have like pretty much insta won the match. Again, Juno, despair stuns. I'm telling you, despair stuns are worse than fire procs, man. Despair stuns are heavy. Despair stuns are definitely heavy. But yeah, this team is not gonna do all too much damage. So just the moment you get rid of that monkey, it's pretty much GG. So still going for some good damage, just hitting the friend. Hitting the Juno, getting a counter. That's pretty unfortunate. It counted triple crit on counter. Wait, I couldn't triple crit with 82 crit rate on a normal element and he just does it on the wrong element. Wait, what? This guy is perfect for like, besides just Viola procs, despairs, anything. This guy hits shit on the wrong element like any time of the day, man. So then it's like, oh, Pinkroid, I'm gonna do the same. Double non-crit. Like, nope, nope, nope. Double non. Oh, you can do it again. You can try it again. Well, you're already done for. You already knew that it was pretty done. Actually, it does land the armor break here, so it didn't cleanse anything. But this, you already know it's done. So that was it for my analysis on these matches. Hope you enjoyed. Also, I hope you enjoyed the tournament itself. I think it was pretty interesting to see, like, we didn't have that many LD spammers. Normally there's a lot of like LD spammers and a lot of like the same people like over and over in this legendary tournament. And I think it was pretty funny to see that we had 3 new people in there. So I think that in general was just fun to see. For me, it was fun to participate into, like, super try hard to actually get there, which I will talk about in the other video. So hope you enjoyed it. Shizzy, Legend Tournament winner. He deserves it, definitely, going 5-0 pretty much in the Legend Tournament. So he played well. Luck was a bit on his side, but he definitely played well. So that's it for this video. Also check out the other video. I'll be putting a link to that one in the description, so check out that one as well, which is pretty much my road to Legend Tournament, and it's just explaining about like, okay, what did I do to get there, how did I like improve my win rate and that kind of stuff. So see you in that one.